Passenger to 998, get access current, better service terminated, Phog VFR, Kahului dangerous. Today. Delta 330, radar contact board, to direct Bambo. Hawaii 392, contact center, on matter point 3.
And 392 ATF Center, leaving 15,000, correct Paris.
Good evening, Alaska 299, 230 for flight level 350.
Alaska 299, ATF Center, roger, to direct Eloy.
Direct Hilo, Alaska 299.
Family 618, Bolt out to the bear, 2999, get access current, ready service terminated, Phog VFR, Kahului dangerous.
Alaska 689, radar contact 5 miles northwest of Kona Vortex, going to Honolulu.
Center on 189, 8,500, climbing 14,000.
2189 ATF Center, roger, do not keep 270 knots.
Okay, that exceeds 270 knots, 189.
Hawaii 86, ready service terminated, 60 dangerous.
Hawaiian 86, switching good day.
Today.
Hello fellow aviators, VREF Simmer here. Welcome to this Saturday night stream. We have live weather and the actual time in the Hawaiian Islands out in the middle of the Pacific. Some of the most remote islands in the world, but beautiful nonetheless. This evening we'll be flying this beautiful Pmdg rendition of the Boeing 737-700 and departing out of Hilo International. A couple of quick hops around the islands. Hilo up to Kahului on Maui and then over to Honolulu. So we already have the aircraft pretty much loaded up, ready to go. Since we have a couple legs, we won't spend too much time on the free flight, so we'll go ahead, hop inside the flight deck here. You can see it's absolutely stunning on the Pmdg. So glad to have y'all with me this evening. Happy to be back and able to stream for just a bit these quick hops around the Hawaiian Islands. So I've already loaded up the FMS and also gotten the pre-flight checks done up here in the overhead on the overhead panel. So we'll go ahead with our departure briefing. It'll get everybody on the same page with what we're doing this evening on our flight. They're almost done with boarding in the back. Might be able to hear the seatbelts clicking some, but looks like Andrew Green. Good luck on the flight. Thanks so much, Andrew. Glad to have you aboard this evening. It's been a long time since I've done one of these streams, so glad you're on board for it. All right, for our departure briefing, we're going to be flying from, like I said, Hilo to Kahului on the island of Maui. Just a few quick items to look over. I have a dispatch release from simbrief.com. Wasn't able to get it to where I could display it here in the cockpit for you all on the stream. Pretty soon there's going to be an electronic flight bag right here where I'm circling the mouse. So you'll be able to see the flight plan right here in the cockpit, which will be amazing. First thing we need to check is our fuel load. We're planning to have 10,990 pounds of fuel, and you can see right here we have 11,000 on board, so we're good. Maintenance status, there's nothing deferred. One thing you can do on the Pmdg, come over here to the Pmdg setup menu, failures, make sure it's showing no failures active. So we have a good aircraft today, which is what we want. NOTAM wise, no assist to airman, nothing that was pertinent for the simulator, either here in Hilo, en route, or in Kahului. A few things that would be a factor in the real world, but we don't have to worry about those today. Let's look at our taxi plan after we push back from the gate, push and start, and then we are planning to taxi out to runway 8 today because the winds are out of the east right now in Hilo, 10 miles visibility, and visual meteorological conditions. There's some clouds, but they're a little bit higher. So we'll plan to push back. We'll taxi on Echo, north on Echo there, then a left turn on Alpha. Make sure we get clearance before we cross runway 3, and then right over here to runway 8. And I have the course knobs here set for our runway heading, which is 079, just so we have that to verify and back up. For our rejected takeoff, we're going to use a standard abort criteria, which means if we have anything pretty much abnormal that happens below 80 knots, we will reject the takeoff. Above 80 knots, we're only going to reject the takeoff if we have an engine fire, severe engine damage, or the aircraft would be unable to get or stay airborne. So that's going to be our standard reject criteria. So for the next leg, I'm just going to say standard criteria. Air return, we'll plan on coming back here. More than likely we'll land on runway 26. It's a little bit tight coming into runway 8. There's a mountain, Mauna Kea, as you can see. Goes all the way up to 13,774 feet right off the western edge of the airport. So if we come back, we'll probably land on runway 26. The winds are light enough. Work out the problem over the ocean, likely at 3,000 feet. For our departure clearance, no air traffic controls online, so we're currently squawking 2,000 since we have an instrument plan, but no radar coverage. And we pull up the release here really quickly so that I can make sure I have the legs just right. We're going to be starting out on the Paris 4 departure. So for the plan mode here, go down to our lowest. So I think I can actually, look at that. I think y'all can see that. Let me see if you can see that on your end. I don't think you can, unfortunately. But you can pull up the windows, blow up like this multifunction display here to where you can see it larger. But I'll set up that for another stream down the road. But basically our first fix is going to be Hilo, VOR. And here, I'll pull it up here on the chart. Stand by. Alright, Paris 4 departure, runway 8, climb heading 079, which we have set in the heading knob there, to Hilo VOR, and then the Hilo 355 radial to SAPD. So you can see we have Hilo, hit the step button here, goes up to SAPD, and then from SAPD over to Paris. And on our release, we'll find the next few legs here. So it's Paris, Paki, Wapio, Polo Point. Beautiful part of the island, by the way. We'll get to see it from here in a minute with the sunset. Macon, Harpo, camps, and then the airport. And I have the ILS they're only 2 over there at Maui in here, so I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to get. And total distance, I'm showing 146 nautical miles in our flight management computer, and we were planned at 160. So yep, that's pretty close. That's just throwing in the extra approach there, some other things. We already looked at the weather here at Hilo. It's good. 299.6 is set on the altimeters in the left, center, and on the right side. And in Kahului on Maui right now, winds are 020 at 16 knots, 10 miles visibility, scattered clouds 3,500, broken at 6. Temperatures 2.19 or 299 or 6, so same altimeter setting. Forecast is calling for visual meteorological conditions for the rest of the day. We do have Honolulu as an alternate since we're here in the Hawaiian Islands. Showing winds out of the east, 12 knots, gusting up to 17, visual meteorological conditions, so shouldn't have a problem going up to Honolulu if we had to for whatever reason. That's really all I have. We do have the terrain out to the west of the field like we already briefed, so that's all we have for this. Let's go ahead and get these trucks and other items off our aircraft here. You see we have catering trucks. Looks like they've finished loading the bags now, but we need to go ahead and get them off of the aircraft. Get the air conditioning unit off, get the galley trucks, all of the baggage handling services. I think the fueler is disconnected too. Good. And we'll go ahead and start up the auxiliary power unit. So we'll turn on our one of the left side pumps and start up the APU. So we'll have electrical and air, get everything disconnected. So we're due out in the next 20 minutes. We're supposed to be in the air, so we have just a few minutes to get this rolling. And just let the APU fire up. Alright, there goes the catering truck. They're getting off, which is perfect. I did set up some views while we're waiting on the APU to start up. You can see here's a cabin view that you'd be seeing in the back. You can see it's much quieter back here. Then have a little farther back in the cabin. Here's the flight attendant view here. And then over here also on the left side of the aircraft. And see, this is United Airlines, so Rhapsody in blue I think is what's playing there. Alright, we'll get back up in the cockpit though. This is where all the action happens when you're flying an aircraft, so it can get crazy in the back, don't get me wrong, but we're going to focus on this part of the aircraft today. Alright, looks like APU has started up, so we need to make sure we have good voltage. Yep, 115 volts, 400 hertz, that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and switch our electric power over to the APU, and we'll wait 1 minute before we let the APU give us air conditioning, just to help it warm up. While we're waiting on that, we'll go ahead and do our pre-flight checklist really quickly. So for the pre-flight check, here's our overview, jump seat view of the cockpit. So we'll stay here for a second while I do this. Interior and exterior inspection complete. Circuit breakers are checked. Nav and display switches, norm and auto. Passenger signs, let me just make sure I got that on. I believe I did. Yep, fasten seatbelts on. Passenger signs on. Window heat. Forgot to reset it after the overheat test, so let me put those back on. Make sure we get 4 greens up here. There we go. Window heat on. Engine bleed air switches on. Pressurization panel set. The pressurization mode selector is auto. Mode control panel set. Oxygen mask is checked. Altimeters 29er, 9er, 6 cross-checked. Flight and nav instruments are checked. I have the Hilo VOR active. I don't think I briefed that, but that was for the Paris for departure in case we lost our nav capabilities for whatever reason. Warning and annunciator lights checked. Speed brake down. Takeoff warning checked and closed. Engine start switches cut off. Stab trim cutout switches normal. Fire warning was checked. Radio and transponder, they're set. Radar off. Rudder and aileron trim free and 0. See, there's our rudder trims at 0 and aileron trims also showing 0 there on the control yoke. Parking brake set. And pressure's a little low. I'm gonna go ahead and fire on the B system. You can see that'll bring that hydraulic pressure right up. I'm just gonna turn both pumps on now. We're clear down there. Windows closed, locked. Flight attendant briefing complete. Departure briefing complete. You all were here for that. Logbook secure H's on board. Fuel required. We have 11,000 on board. 10,900 required. So the pre-flight check is complete. Let's check and make sure. Yep, APU is still looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and switch our bleeds over to the APU. Packs on auto, APU bleed is open, and I'm going to turn the recirc fans back on. Let's check the temperature in the cabin, make sure it's not too hot back there. Yeah, it's pretty hot. It's 80 degrees in the passenger cabin, so let's cool it down just a little bit. So we get here. Alright. I would not like it to be 80 degrees if I was sitting in the back. I'll tell you that. Alright, we're going to go ahead and disconnect tell them to disconnect the ground power. Air conditioning is already released, and it looks like we need the aft galley truck needs to go away. And also, it looks like we still had some baggage carts on the aircraft, so let's look outside, make sure everything's looking good now. It is. There goes the caterers leaving. Doors are closed there. Just waiting on this baggage cart to get out of the way, then we'll be ready to push. There they go. Perfect. And just waiting. Flight attendant to close the door. Just gonna make her shut it. There. Alright, we'll go ahead and let's do the pushback check, please. So I'll do the, I'm gonna turn on the logo lights. Beacon on. Got the hydraulic pumps on already. We're just waiting on the. I had this happen once before. The left and right overwing exit were showing open, and they were clearly closed. It went out in flight, and the abnormal procedure was just to make sure pressurization looked normal. And if pressurization was normal, then you can continue the flight. But we'll see. Alright, we'll go ahead and get air traffic control ready to go again. Make sure we don't have anyone online with us controlling this area before I get going. Checking the vPilot client. Nope, looks like it's all uncontrolled at the moment. Alright, here we go. We'll make our radio call and we'll be ready for pushback. Hilo traffic, United 1956, Boeing 737, pushing back and starting gate 5. Hilo. Alright, pushback check, doors. I'm going to just double check in the FMS here, the MECDO, make sure we're not showing any doors. See, the overwing exit should be shut on there. So, like I said, I don't know if it's a bug or what it is exactly, but we'll go ahead and consider doors closed. Hydraulic panel is set. Fuel panel set. Flight deck door closed. And let's go ahead and lock it. Alright, closed, locked. Turn our transponder on there. And transponder to transponder. Pushback check complete. Do one quick look behind us, make sure it looks clear. Yep, looks clear. And I'll call up our pushback crew, get them to push us back. We're gonna go. Oops, we're gonna go straight back. And here we go.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start straight back. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Release the brakes, please. Brakes released.
Alright, here we go. As soon as we start rolling, we will start engine 2, then 1. Here we go. So we gotta turn the packs off. And starting engine number 2. Start our timer for the starter. And we'll watch the units here. N2. Oil pressure. N1 rotation. EGT is good. We're going to wait for the N2 to stagnate. Usually it's around 28% when it stagnates. Then we'll move the cutoff lever up to idle. Oops, sorry about that. Alright, see how it stagnated there about 28, 29. So now fuel will get introduced. There's fuel flow and light up. Oops, sorry. We have to check up here that the engine valve and spar valve closed lights went out, which they did. And see, all these instruments are starting to get pretty bright. I'm going to try to turn the brightness down some. Sun's starting to set out here. Just monitoring this exhaust gas temperature, make sure it doesn't get hot. Alright, brake set, pressure normal.
Brake set.
Just dim this out here. Alright, EGT's gone down, so we're going to go ahead and start number 1. Alright, N2, oil pressure, N1, EGT's good. Just waiting on that N2 stagnation. I'm just going to turn these brightness knobs down while we're waiting on that. Try to get stuff set up for sunset. Alright, there we go, it's 29%, stagnating, and cutoff lever up to idle. Get a quick view from the back of the, you can hear that engine starting up. Take a look at the from the outside. It's starting up. Pretty looking aircraft. All right, there we go. EGT is going back down. Let's get our generators on. I forgot to check Gen 2 before I did that. Get the, so we're still showing the left overwing and right overwing exits on. And we're going to switch our bleeds over to the engines here. Perfect. And let's shut the APU off before takeoff. Alright, flaps 1. Watch your knees. Check the flight controls down here. Also the rudder. Alright, app start check. Generators on. Probe heat on. Anti-ice standard. Air conditioning panel set. Recall. It's going to stay on because of the doors, see? And over here on the first officer side it'll say doors. We know about that. That's noted. Just to double check. I mean, we'll just have to make sure that the cabin is pressurizing as we climb. If it is not, we're coming right back here to Hilo. And auto brakes RTO. After start check complete. Alright, here we go. Like I said, we're doing, here's our airport diagram. So Echo, left turn on Alpha. Here we go. Clear right. Sorry about that. It's kind of staggering a little bit. And clear left. Need to update my drivers for the NVIDIA. Try to keep our thrust low so we don't blow over a bunch of baggage carts on us. So I do have the traffic to where it's off. It's only going to show traffic that's on the VATSIM online network for our flight this evening. And part of the reason I did that is I know a lot of times you have some crazy stuff going on in Kahului, Maui. It's a pretty popular spot for people flying their F-18s around. So I'm just going to try and make it to where it's easy for me to see the other traffic that happens to be on VATSIM. Alright, go ahead and turn on our taxi light. Since we're moving and we're heading out. Alright, taxi check. Flaps. So I use TopCat for takeoff and landing performance calculations. So flaps were planned at 1. We're showing 1 right there. We're showing, stand by 1 sec. I'm gonna pull this up. Flaps 1, flaps 1, flaps 1, and green light. Takeoff speeds 129, 129, 132, and also need to have 132, and the bucket here is set. Here's our left turn on Alpha as briefed. Thrust DTO2, so that's derated takeoff 2 plus 37C. Stab trim is at 5.2. And flight controls checked. Taxi check complete. Alright, we're all on the straightaway. I'll go ahead and do the quick navigation briefing. So we're planning to take off runway 8 out of Hilo. Pull up the plate here for you all. Take off out of Hilo, runway 8, 079 heading. When we line up, that's what we're looking for. Also, elevation is 27 feet, so make sure that all matches up. And on departure, it's going to be climb heading 079 to the Hilo 355 radial, which we're showing right here in our MEC2 and on the MFT, and then out to Safety. And that all matches. Be 200 knots initially on the climb till we're out of the Class Delta airspace. Standard Sierra and standard abort criteria as we briefed. Flaps are at 1. We're cleared all the way up to flight level 240 since there are no controllers online, no top altitude on the departure. Land speeds are set at 129, 129, 132, and 132 set in the speed bucket. Alright, if there are no other questions, we'll go ahead with our before takeoff check here in just 1 minute. Go ahead and tell the flight attendants to please be seated. So there we go. PA. Flight attendants prepare the cabin for departure. And typically they call back. Oh, looks like a rain shower is coming in. See how the visibility is going down on us. So if we did have a problem, we would likely have to go back into runway 26. Alright, one thing I need to check here, I need to make sure that this runway is grooved. And I'll show you all how to check that. Wow, look at the visibility, how much it's going down. I don't think that Pmdg has been able to get the wipers to make much of a difference. Look, it's not clearing the windshield at all. So we need to be heads up about not crossing this runway 3 up here without it. Making sure we're not going to go in front of an aircraft. So this side of the island is notorious for just getting pretty rainy. Alright, so we're coming up toward runway 3 here. And let's make sure it's runway 8. It is grooved, see? Which means the drive, we don't have to have wet performance data for our takeoff. So it's alright, there's runway 3. It looks clear right, clear left. We'll make an announcement on the radio. Hilo traffic, United 1956, crossing runway 3. Hilo, on Alpha, Hilo. Let's get some lights on, make us more visible. Alright, cabin is ready. Heard that announcement from PACX. And we will have our heads-up display for takeoff. I think visibility will improve dramatically as soon as this rain shower is passed. Hilo traffic United 1956, clear runway 3 at Alpha, continuing taxi runway 8, Hilo. Alright. Alright, here we are coming up to runway 8. Where's the sign? See runway 8 on the pavement. Okay, here we go. We'll make our announcement. Clear left. Hilo traffic United 1956. Taking off runway 8. We'll be departing to the north via the Paris 4 departure. Hilo. Alright, let's go ahead and do our before takeoff check, please. Turn on all of our lights here. Before takeoff check, runway positions checked. Runway 8, flaps. 1, green light. Navigation briefing complete. Takeoff warning. Hold up. That's something to just advance the thrust levers. Make sure that we don't hear anything. There we go. Guy gets lined up. We had some issues. We were sliding for a second there, I think. It's weird. Takeoff warning checked. Auto throttle armed. Engine start switches. They definitely need to be in continuous with all this rain. Start switches continuous. Transponder. Let's get that to TARA. And flight attendants notified and acknowledged. Before takeoff check complete. Let's get our heads up display down for takeoff. I'm going to turn the brightness down just a minute, just a bit. There we go. Get it sharpened for us. Alright, before takeoff check complete. Here we go. Fuel's at 10.7 and we needed 10.4. Headings are all good. It's good. Runway 8 verified. And toga. And thrust set. $80 knots. Check. Thrust hold. Thrust normal. Engines normal.
Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Acceleration altitude, VNAV. this definitely ended up being an instrument departure. This heads-up display is pretty cool. So with the gear up, you should get the wipers off. There we go. And there's our left turn out on the Hilo 350 radial via the Paris for departure. Now we're just accelerating to our flap 0, our clean speed. Our flaps, before we retract the flaps, there we go, flaps up. And after takeoff check. Let's take the heads up display, put it up. And autopilot on. Alright, on after takeoff check, flaps up, landing gear up, off, packs, our auto. Let's make sure we're pressurizing. That was one of the things we needed to see. So the cabin is slowly climbing, and we're looking pretty good. And actually the left and right overwing caution lights did go out, so we're good in that regard. Engine bleeds are on. Pressurization panel, check engine start switches. We're leaving it continuous with the current. Precipitation, APU is off. After takeoff check complete. So weather really did deteriorate in this part of the island, and weather radars are not simulated yet in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, so we don't have any way to see what the at least for this precip is intensity wise. It's still pretty warm out. It's total air temperature is plus 21 C, so we don't need any anti-ice on at the moment. Now it's getting pretty bright up here. Look at the difference once we climb up out of the clouds. Wow. I'm going to switch to the outside view so we can look and see. Look at how beautiful that is. Wow. There's a view from the back passenger cabin. Some of the volcanoes. I think that's Mauna Kea out there. And then over here, just out over the ocean. There's 10,000 feet. We'll go ahead and give them the bells. And our route today takes us north off of the Big Island, and then we'll be heading west just by Apollo Point and also the Waipio Valley. Maybe we'll get to see it. Just depends on the cloud cover. But we'll be heading right over that direction up on the north side of Mauna Kea. We should be able to see Haleakala on Maui here in just a bit. Back at about our 10 or 11 o'clock.
Correct, Julie.
Delta 330, thank you. Descend to maintain flight level 320 for crossing traffic, then descend highway to maintain 10,000.
That's our Honolulu center there. Absolutely a beautiful simulator. Beautiful part of the world, that's for sure. And highly recommend, if you have the opportunity to get out to the Hawaiian Islands, definitely do so. It is incredible. Alright, so we're just going by SAPT, and right now our fuel, we're showing 9,200 pounds. Let's see, I'm going to pull up our release, SimBrief, which soon I'll be able to show here in the cockpit with one of the future updates. We're planning to have 8,500 pounds of fuel, so we're 700 pounds heavy on the fuel. So we have plenty of fuel. And our landing limit for today is 129,200 pounds, and our gross takeoff weight was 121.8, so we won't have any issues with exceeding our max landing weight today, even though we have extra fuel. Looks like there's Haleakala right off the nose. You can see it in the haze. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. Hana would be right in that area. I think I read about a swimming race where people will actually swim from Maui all the way to the Big Islands. I can't even imagine doing that. The currents, the sea creatures like sharks, like great white sharks, I wouldn't want to do it, but hey, more power to the people that are willing and able to do so. That's pretty incredible.
Come on, get 248, radar contact 8 northwest, Kona taxi altitude, please.
Alright, there we go. We're heading on our westerly heading. We've gone through flywheel 180. That's our transition altitude. So we're down to standard. I'll turn the exterior lights.
Delta 481
The
and I'm
cruise
sorry,
positions here.
330, please.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the ignition on the engines now that we're out of the precipitation. Kind of wondering what it looks like behind us. Yeah, you can see all the rain showers there.
377,
Come by Hilo.
XF Delta 1077 is a party 32.
thanks, sir.
So our top of climb's coming up here in not too long. Actually, look at this. I got to brighten the panel back up. It got pretty bright once we got up out of Hilo and all that stormy weather. And we'll listen to the automated weather in Kahului here in just a minute once we level off at cruise.
630, Maui approach 9.5. See you later. 19.5, take care.
And there's Mauna Kea. I did see it, I don't think you can see it right here, but they do have the observatories on top of Mauna Kea now.
Delta 481,
And I'm not sure if that was part of the newest flight simulator update or got the Fly and Drive Hawaiian scenery add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that might have been what added it.
77, turn left heading 310.
But I would recommend that if you like flying around the Hawaiian Islands, the Fly and Drive. It adds custom scenery you can have for really most of the Hawaiian airports except Honolulu International. That's the only one that does not have any, I would say, detailed scenery at this time. It's still just default, but it'll work as we'll see when we get up there here in a few minutes. Alright, flywheel 230, climbing 240. But beautiful views here. Alright, and there we are, flywheel 240, top of the climb.
370.
And fuel's at 8,500. Our planned fuel at the top of climb on our release was 8,500, so that's exactly spot on. But it had us, so that'll work. I'm gonna turn off the fasten seatbelt sign here for just a minute. If anyone needs to go to the bathroom, they can, so it's important. Alright, let's listen to the automated weather in Kahului. See if I can find it here. We're actually going to listen to the real ATIS. Alright, here we go. Let's see if it works. I hope it will. I don't know if it will. I've actually never tried this. Yeah, I don't think it's going to.
29907.
Oh, there it is.
Localizer, RNAV, visual approaches on use, landing and departing runways 2 and 5. Notice air missions, ILS, runway 2, glide path, unserviceable. All departing aircraft contact tower on 118.7 for pushback and taxi. Advise on this contact if information, Zulu. Flight confirmation Zulu, Sun 0354 Zulu, 102012, visibility 10. Sky conditions, sea clouds of 3,500, 5,000 scattered. Temperature 27, dew point 19, altimeter 29907. Localizer, RNAV, visual approaches on use, landing and departing runways 2 and 5. Notice air missions, ILS, runway 2, glide path, unserviceable. All departing aircraft contact tower on 118.7 for pushback and taxi. Advise on this contact if information, Zulu.
Alright, there you heard it. That was Zulu. So they are landing runway 2, and
377, clear direct Zulu. Thanks.
that runway 2 glide path being out of service, that was one of the notives I was mentioning that would be a factor in real life, but will not in the simulator today. Alright, off our left side there, we can see the sea cliffs and the Waipio Valley. It's I think back there maybe.
9.3.
Beautiful spot. Polo Point is right up in this area. There's an airport there. And then the Waimea Kohala Airport. Alright, so we are now turning toward the island of Maui, leaving the big island behind. Alright, we'll get our landing data set up. I'm switching over to Top Cat. We might have just reached our top of descent, yep. So I'm going to set our we're going to go down to 3,000. There we go. Alright, 3,000 sets. And see, there's Haleakala. This is a really short flight that we have here. I'm going to turn the seatbelt sign back on, and then we will begin our descent. So I'm just going to reset the VNAV there. And we're really high, so pulling the flight spoilers to try to help us get back on our profile. We want to get this magenta path indicator here centered up. So, alright, let me run our numbers really quickly. On these busy flights like this is when it's really nice to have a flight crew, because you can, one person can be just focusing on flying the aircraft, the other can be running the numbers, getting the weather.
HM Coast Guard 2007 is level 1.
So 13,007 ATS center run.
And no, it's really nice to have that. Yeah, I gotta get our weight set properly here. Just running the numbers here on the back end. I don't think you all can see this screen in Top Cat, which stands for Takeoff Landing Performance Calculation Tool. So, but highly recommend it for your PMDG 737 and other things. Problem is I accidentally closed it, I guess, earlier, so it deleted all of my weight and balance numbers, so I'm having to re-enter everything. So hopefully I can do it before we get too much lower. Just gotta make sure zero fuel weight was matching up. Yeah, it's looking good. So I'm gonna go to landing.
377 ATM center, roger.
South, information Zulu.
ATM center, Fox 2320.
Alright, now it should work. Landing runway 2. Just takes a second to run everything. Alright, so we're showing we'll be landing with flaps 30 and VREF is going to be 127, and the approach
1400 for the gauge CF Center, we'll go
of
down at point 3.
138.
Southwest 1400.
Connect.
And our landing distance required is going to be 5,100 feet.
Contact 4 miles west of 194.
We'll do an auto 3 land. We'll go ahead and set that right now
Say that one more time. Lock.
for the auto brakes. And we need to get our altimeter set to 297 since we're through 18,000 feet. We go ahead and get our lights set.
Southwest 1400.
Oops, didn't want to do that.
Southwest 1400.
We'll go ahead and turn on the continuous ignition. I don't need the logo lights. Turn the wing light on. And we're about to go through 10,000. We'll go ahead and give the flight attendants the bells. See, this gets very busy. And let me set the approach speeds in here. So it's flaps 30. And our VREF speed was 127. And wind correction is going to be plus 11. Alright, that's all set. Let's pull up our approach plate for runway 2, the ILS to Kahului, Maui. So Kahului, 21st January 22, 11-2, ILS Yankee, runway 2, localizers 110.1. Let's go ahead and set that in down here in the radio tuning units. Alright, 110.1, we have it set on both sides. It's going to be a 024 course inbound. So let's go ahead and get that set.
310 or better, Hawaiian 310.
This will be the visual backed up with the ILS more than likely, but just in case there are rain showers, we'll set up and brief the ILS. Temps 2400 is what we're planning to cross two camps there. And ILS DA is at 275. Let's go ahead and get that set up here. Set Barrow to 275. You can see it down here.
United 348, United Service terminated.
275 is set. And for that we need 300 foot ceilings, half mile. Actually, the visibility is controlled in ILS, but we have 10 miles visibility, so we're good. Alright, we're in the clouds again, but total air temperature is at plus 18, so we don't need any anti-ice. Molokini crater coming up off our nose there. And like we said on the legs for camps, it's going to be camps, we'll go 3,000, TEBs, root vectors to the localizer, TEBs, well self-vector, TEBs that are above 2,400, and then runway 2, missed approach is going to be climbed to 3,000 on the Maui 023 radial to crane and hold. Minimum save altitude is 7,000 to the southwest, 3,400 to the north, and 11,300 to the east due to the Haleakala volcano. We also have mountainous terrain to the left there. After we land, runway 2, it's going to be a left-hand turnoff, likely at the end, and then Alpha, we get clearance before we cross runway 523. There's a hot spot 1 and 3 there. Which hotspot 3, aircraft landing runway 2 that are instructed to exit left on Alpha, sometimes cross 523 without clearance. So make sure we have clearance. We're parking at gate 1 today, which is all the way on the south end here. Speeds are set, flaps 30. And let's go ahead and run the descent check. Altimeters 299.7, cross checked. Minimums, Barrow 275, cross checked. Landing data, standby. 30-127, set. Approach briefing complete. Auto brakes 3. Seatbelt signs on. Pressurization checked. And recall checked. Set check complete.
377 to Phog, maintain 10,000, Honolulu altimeter 299.5.
Discretion 1,000, Hawaiian 310.
Alright, so as you can see, this is absolutely just a beautiful approach. Let's take a look on the outside.
1077 clear direct resume, crossing zone out of the 300 clear, Honolulu 300.
So there's beaches of Maui,
1077 affirmative, resume out of the 300
Kihei and
clear,
McKenna.
Honolulu 35 approach.
Want to bring our zoom down just a bit here.
6 flight 285, vector towards Honolulu.
And we need to go ahead and slow down flaps 1.
What's up going again?
Do speed intervention there to 180.
What's the word about you that start taking your call time?
And let's go ahead and slow this sucker down here. Let's switch to heading mode. We're going to go ahead and
121725.
turn and intercept. Showing 110.1. Yep, that's good.
Contact 7 miles northwest airport.
Stand by.
And I'm sorry, I got everything except for the
Do our load, make sure we capture the localizer, and then we'll arm approach mode when we can.
Friendly 599,
So 2,400 for Tebs. We're going to be intercepting between Camps and
Friendly
Tebs.
599, Roger, block 2,
Flaps 2.
341. If you just want to head towards the field.
There's West Maui. See the wind turbines there.
977,
View our
contact
load
center,
and
136.5.
identified, and approach mode is arms, and we're high.
6.5,
Flaps 5. You're down. Runway's in sight. Flaps 10. And sometimes this I accidentally bumped my trim wheel. Alright, we're looking good now. I need to set the runway length really quickly in the heads up display. Elevation is 55. And the runway length is 69.98.
To the east, no top formations reported.
And 3 degrees, I believe. Let me double check that.
730
So, okay, let's go ahead and slow back to our approach speed of 138. There we go. Flaps 15.
Local 330, contact approach 118.3.
Airport altitude.
Nice. Alaska 299, there's a terminated 350 feet to room. Have a good one.
Flaps 25.
Reaching 4,000.
Flaps 30. And landing check. Actually, I guess we have approach check first. Flight nav instruments verified. Cabin notification complete. Altimeter is 297 cross checked. Landing check. Landing gear down. Flaps 30, 30, green light. Speed brake arms. Engine start switches continuous. Landing check complete. Alright. Let's bring our heads up display down. There we go. Take a look from the back really quickly. Let's get a view out the back side of the aircraft. See a beautiful view of the West Maui there, and then off the right side, beautiful view of Kihei and also McKenna with Haleakala in the backdrop. Beautiful area. Waters down here teem with whales during the winter season.
377 approach for 18.3.
Alright, looking good on our approach here. We need to make an announcement on VATSIM. Kahului, my traffic united 1956 on a 7-mile final runway to Kahului, my. I don't believe anybody else is on. It's been pretty
1400, contact approach for 18.3.
pretty slow evening on the network. It's our outer marker. We'll go ahead and set the missed approach heading and altitude, so at 3,000, and our missed approach altitude. more than likely we're just going to make right traffic back around. If we do go miss, since it's visual conditions today, we're up at we'll go up to 3,000 for that.
99 Roger, and what approach do you want at Lanai?
So we're heading to 023 for that initial heading. Here we go. Let's approach checking altitude RSET.
99 Roger.
Alright, autopilot is coming off.
39, you are clear to Lanai Airport via radar vectors for the Leo Alpha. Maintain 4,000 and Lanai altimeter
And
3004.
auto throttles coming off. Alright, flying all manually now.
Only 599.
You can see this is a really just a neat aircraft that Pmdg have put together,
I know.
and
Yep,
look
Lanai
forward
weather
to
and
the improvements they're getting ready to come out with for it, and the other 737 variants that are right on the way. There's the smokestacks right there. I think that's from that fly and drive scenery I was telling you all about. 1,000, and we are cleared to land. Turn on our landing lights here. It's my little reminder. Kahului Mine traffic, United 1956, short final runway to Kahului.
99, fly heading 230 now.
Alright. Slightly slow, about 3 knots slow, so increasing the speed. Now you can see that sun just kind of dancing off the
American 115, change my
aircraft as we get past some of the
126.6.
mountain peaks in West Maui.
6.6 American 115.
For 1077, contact Honda Tower 120.3.
500.
Flags and gear down. We are cleared to land still. Runway looks clear.
400.
Yeah, it looks like we're a little bit high.
300.
599, fly heading
Approaching minimums.
145 to join the Leo Alpha final approach course. Report established.
200. Minimums.
Runway in sight, continue.
Sorry, 3011, radar contact
100.
3.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Firm landing, but we're in the touchdown zone. And full reverse. Keep it on the center line. Knots. And we're just going to roll it to the end as briefed. Oops. And I'm coming up on the brakes. And let's turn it alpha. Clear left, here we go.
18 ATF center, fly maintain flight level 210.
Now look at the West Maui Mountains. Mist of clouds up in the mountaintops, sunset lighting. Can't beat that. That's beautiful. Alright.
5502, ATF center, time to maintain flight level 250.
Alright, after landing check, please.
Join the final approach course for the Leo Alpha.
Kahului Maui traffic, United 1956, clear runway 2 Alpha, crossing runway 5 Alpha.
Or you want to try the
Kahului
Leo
Maui.
Alpha right now?
I'm going to stow the HUD really quickly and start the
Only 599.
timer, make sure the engines are cooldown time. I'll start the APU. And we'll get the rest of the flow once we, after landing flow, once we cross runway 5. So clear right, clear left, clear to cross. Here we go.
26.5, Delta 344.
Okay.
And this is the payware scenery that's available for Maui. I believe it's Northern Sky Studios that made it. It's in the Microsoft Flight Simulator store, but excellent scenery. I think some people have had trouble with it on Xbox, but it's worked just fine on my PC. So, highly recommend it. Alright, let's get these lights off so we're not blinding everybody at the airport. Don't need all of these. That's still daytime. Don't need that. Alrighty, turn off the ignitions. Get the windows, probes off. And we are depressurized, which is good. Transponder back to transponder mode. TRA is off. Radar, we don't have to worry about it. It's already off. So after landing, check engine start switches off, flaps up, speed brake down, and radar off. After landing, check. Like I said, gate number 1 is going to be all the way down here at the far southern end of the terminal complex. Make sure I stay on the center line, start drifting here. I have not set up my rudder pedals to the proper sensitivity, I don't believe, for steering the 737. I don't have a tiller wheel to use, but so I just use the rudders. It's very sensitive. I'm going to turn off the flight directors, I don't need those on. Alright, so we were expected to arrive in 12 minutes or so. So we're a little bit early as long as we park right away. Look at those views of Haleakala. That's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I don't know what this guy's doing. Don't drive at me. I'm just going to keep going. He's just being crazy. I'm not going to worry about... In real life, yeah, I would stop, but... It's the sim. Alright, we'll turn off taxi lights so we don't blind the rampers here, the marshallers, which are not there, but they aren't going to show up with the current add-ons I have. Continue to park, clear right, clear left, here we go. There's gate 1, it's verified. Alright, we'll switch to exterior view, stop, park properly. Alright. Here we are, let's set our parking brake. Gotta do a quick turn, get up to Honolulu, so let's make sure we got our APU generator on. Yes, it is.
The 715 HCF Center, Roger. You clear from Lanai Airport to Honolulu, Airport via Julie 5 arrival. Lanai
Delta 977, radar contact, clear direction of Pua.
And Squawk 2335.
And shut down, 2, shut down. Turn off fuel pumps, except for the one for the APU. Gotta fill out my ACARS report really quickly. Stay by 1 second. Alright, got it. That's my ACARS for times. And let's make sure we got our chocks in. Ground services, chocks are now in. Perfect. Ground power, we'll get that requested. And we'll go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. Wing, we'll go ahead and turn on the logo lights since that's coming around. Switch to the right side of ignition for the next leg. I'm just going to do a quick flow through here. Yeah, seatbelt signs are off. Probe seats were depressurized, which is perfect. Transponder can now come off. Radar is definitely off. And let's run through the shutdown check step. Parking brake is set. Pressure normal. Fuel pump switches are as required. Seatbelt sign off. Window heat off. Probe heat off, anti-ice off, electric hydraulic pumps, I do need to turn those off. Off, air conditioning panel set, anti-collision light off, engine start levers cut off, and transponder standby. Shutdown check complete. Alright, we'll go ahead and unlock the cockpit door, and we'll step out and thank the passengers for flying with us. It's going to be a brief intermission here for a bit. I'm actually going to take you all outside the aircraft and into the terminal to enjoy some of the views as we prepare for this next leg of the trip. So enjoy the views of Haleakala from Gate 1 in the terminal. And I'll be back in just a minute. Just have to run a few numbers on the for the next leg, and I'll be back with you all very shortly.
Giant 3803 ATS, good evening. Pilot's discretion down on flight level 280.
ATF Center radar contact, southwest of 19410. Hawaiian 190, contact approach 100.56. Falcon 715 traffic, no factor, climb and maintain 8,000.
Runway 641, Honolulu altimeter 995, contact approach 118.3.
Cross Ujum at or above 2,700. You cleared RNAV runway 35 approach.
Cross Ujum at or above 2,700. Cleared RNAV or runway 35 approach. Hawaiian 320.
This is 715, Roger.
Delta 330, to the center, squawk 2312. Delta 557, rear contact board, to direct Bambo.
The 717 from the northwest is going to be well behind you. Return to this walk too far. Phone tower 20.3. Have a good night.
Straight mile 1 Alpha Mike. Good afternoon. We're 11,200 climbing 14,000.
Number 1 Alpha Mike, ATF Center, Roger. Is that 15 Honolulu, altimeter 2995, contact approach, runway 8.3.
Hawaiian 361 ATF thanks. Split direct Julie.
Giant 3803, ATF Center, descend maintain 14,000, Honolulu, altimeter 2995, transition 29370.
maintain level 2
Alright, fellow aviators, VREF Simmer, I'm back. Welcome back to the live stream. Go ahead and start cutting the music down here. Enjoy some of the Highland style grooves there for a little bit. That was Mama, or Just Peachy. Yeah, Just Peachy. I use Epidemic Sound for these streams in case you're wondering, and they do provide music that you can use with the stream, and you have the rights to them. It's a small subscription fee for that, but it's well worth it. As you can see, it's quality music. Right, here's our aircraft. I have our flight plan filed now in VATSIM. We'll go ahead and re-enter the aircraft and get back to our flying. I think we've got everybody off the aircraft now, so we need to go ahead and start getting the next group of people on board. Yep, so to go ahead and do that. Start the next flight on PACX here. So today we're flying the second leg from Kahului to Honolulu, and we're still keeping the same flight number of United 1956, just continuing over there. I just need to check really quickly on our cruise altitude for this current leg, and it's going to be, looks like we're going to be up at 14,000 feet, so not quite as high as we had on that last one. Our flight time, gate to gate, we're only planned at 42 minutes, so pretty short flight gate to gate. We'll probably beat that, probably have plan another 40 minutes or less to take off. We'll go ahead and start getting the next batch of passengers on board though, that way we can get out of here as soon as possible and hopefully get to see some of the sunset out over the ocean. That's always a lot of fun. 119 passengers is what we're planning. That's what the gate agent told us we have up there. So got the passenger count, and we'll go ahead and start getting everybody on board here in a second. I'm probably going to turn the music up a bit while I load the flight plan in so you can watch what I'm doing, and then we'll talk about it in our departure briefing here in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and start that here in a sec. I did do a quick align of the IRSs while you all were on one of the intermission screens. So we're currently realigned. Turn the seatbelt sign back on. We're just doing a quick turn here, and yeah, sit back and enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to speak up in the chat. Glad for each of you that are here watching with me again this evening. Just kind of getting back into the streaming again after a decent hiatus due to good family issues. So I'll just leave it at that. So we'll get back to the music, and I'll talk to y'all in just a minute. You can watch what I'm doing.
Doctor 3055, center, you're cleared from Lanai Airport to Honolulu Airport via Julie 5 arrival, Lanai transition, climbing to 8,000. Four and 34 is not on the Hawaiian 392, contact center 118.45. November 1 Alpha Mike, contact approach 118.36.
Good afternoon, ASF Hawaiian 392 with you out of flight level 195 for 250.
Hawaiian 392 ACF, thanks, good evening.
61 ACF center, after payload is for the case.
Waking up dizzy in the morning. We fight a lot. Don't even know about what. I just want you to leave, darling. It's my only hope. Can't you see our time is up? I don't want to start over. Finally some peace and quiet since you left, so don't bother. This is how I feel now. I never had it so good. Had it so good. I never had it so good. Without your love, I know I would. I feel good. I feel good. I never had it so good. Without your love, I know I would. Waking up early in the morning without you by my side.
Airbus 320 for 4,000.
in the middle of the night. I'm glad you're gone.
Traffic 23 miles southeast, bound for Virgin, Boeing 737, 13,000.
I never had it all good.
Alright, welcome back. I think we got pretty much all of the pre-flight items done there. I just didn't want to be sitting there talking through the entire thing, so I figured if you wanted to stick around, you could listen to the music and kind of see what I was doing. But we'll go ahead with our departure briefing now. They're just finishing up the boarding in the back of those 119 passengers. So this is flight 1956 service from Kahului, Maui, up to Honolulu. And fuel plan, we're planning gate of 8,064. We have 8,100 pounds of fuel on board. Let's double check our maintenance status, make sure nothing has failed here in the Pmdg aircraft. Yep, no active failures, so perfect. No TAM-wise, nothing that should affect us here in the simulator today other than air traffic control. All of the air traffic controllers are offline, so we'll just be transmitting on 122.8 and letting other aircraft know our position. For the taxi plan, it's going to be a really short taxi this evening from gate number 1 to runway 2. So we'll plan on starting both engines when we push back. We'll let the flight attendants know it's going to be a short taxi, and I'll likely go ahead and run the all the way up to the takeoff check before we taxi to runway 2 there, because we'll go pretty much straight there. And so hopefully we can just roll, take right off, and be underway. So it's a 024 course on the runway there. Airport runway elevation is at 55 feet, so we'll look for that when we get there. And it's the Beach 4 departure. We're squawking 2,000. Standard abort criteria as briefed earlier in the first leg. So off runway 2, climb on a heading of 024. Switch this to plan mode so we can double check it on the screen here. Heading of 024 to 1400, then climbing right turn via the Maui, the Maui 195 radial to beach. So you can see we make that turn there, and 195 radial all the way out to beach, and then it's Lanai transition, and then we immediately transition onto the Chalet 1 arrival. So Lanai, then Honu, then Daily at or above 4,000 feet, Chalet at 210 knots and at 4,000 feet, and then it's vectors for the approach. Let's see what the weather is being forecast as up there in Honolulu right now. At the moment, they're showing, I can actually pull up the actual live weather on my phone here. Winds are 070 at 14 visual meteorological conditions, so I'm guessing more likely it's going to be runway 4 left, 4 right. So I'm going to go ahead and tentatively plan on that. ILS to runway 4 right. So let's go ahead and put that in there, and 4 right in the McDo down here also. So plan on the Zulu with the, I believe it was the Atlanta transition. Well, I'll just do this for now. And so our total distance we're showing in here is 118 nautical miles to Honolulu, and on the release we were planning just to be at 140, so it's pretty close. I think that's just that approach distance is what we don't have in there right now, which we'll get it here in a bit. The squawk is going to be 2,000 since no air traffic control. It's just us out here. Weather is, like we said, BMC both places. Let's get the current ATIS here in. With the current ATIS here in Kahului. Stand by 1 second, I'll tune it up.
So the 330, thank you. Just to maintain level 320 for crossing traffic.
That off.
Maintain 10,000. Honolulu ultimate 9.
Alright, let's see if we can get the ATIS playing. Should load any second. There it goes.
Localizer, RNAV, and visual approaches in use. Landing and departing runways 2 and 5. Airmet Sierra, update 1 valid. Contact Honolulu radio for more information. Service air mission. ILS, runway 2, glide slope, unsurfaceable. All departing aircraft contact Tower 118.74, pushback and taxi. Advise on initial contact with information Alpha.
It's Alpha.
Valley Tower, information Alpha 0454 Zulu. Wind 03014, visibility 10. Ceiling 6,500 broken. Temperature 26, dew point 19er, and altimeter 29er, 8. Localizer, RNAV, and visual approaches in use, landing and departing runways 2 and 5. Airmet Sierra, update 1 valid, contact Honolulu radio for more information. Notice air mission, ILS, runway 2, glide slope, unserviceable.
Alright, yep, we know about that, so we'll go ahead and it's 299er 8 now for the altimeter, so we have that set on all sides, and we're taking off runway 2 as briefed, so that's perfect. Engine failure path, it's straight out. We'll go straight out over the ocean, 3,000 feet, and plan to come back to land here. If it's really bad, we'll likely continue to Honolulu where they have longer runways if we need extra landing distance and we have the time. We'll be having LNAV to help us with our lateral path. We'll engage VNAV once we get above 1,100 feet MSL for our flat protraction altitude. I need to initialize the ACARS. Let me do that really quickly. Alright. Got that going, and that is everything. Let's do our pre-flight checklist. Interior and exterior inspection complete. Circuit breakers are checked. Nav and display switches are normal and auto. Passenger signs on, and I didn't even need to do the overheat test again, but I did. So I turned the window heats back on. Got to reset them there. There we go. Window heat on. Engine bleed air switch on. Pressurization panel is set. Pressurization mode selector auto. Load control panels all set. The oxygen mask was checked. Altimeters 299er 8 cross checked. Flight nav instruments checked. Warning and annunciator lights are they're checked. Speed brake down. Takeoff warning. I'll check that really quickly. Make sure it's working. Yep. And engine start levers cut off. Stab trim cut off switches normal. Fire warning checked. Required for this leg. Raise and transponder are set. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on to transponder since we're pushed back here in a second. Radar off, or it's actually deactivated. Rotor and aileron trim are free and 0. Park and brake set. Windows closed, lock. Flight attendant briefing complete. Departure briefing complete. Logbook secure H is on board. Fuel required is 8.1 on board and 8.1 required. Pre-flight check complete. Let's go ahead and get the APU started up and get everything disconnected so we can get out of here. We're due out in approximately 15 minutes, so we get out early. We'll get our brightness set properly for this HUD. We need to go ahead and get it a little dimmer now. And we already have that set up for this runway. You can see it's gotten quite a bit darker, so I'm actually going to dim a lot of our screens here. And see if that'll help us at all. Certainly do appreciate, once again, all of you that are watching. It's been good having you aboard. And we'll get underway here in just a second once we get our APU started back up. I don't typically do 2 legs on the stream. I just was going to try to do it tonight just to try it out. Kind of testing out my new setup. Like I said, this was not an announced stream. I don't typically stream on Saturday nights, but I was going to just try this out tonight and see how it goes. So I do appreciate everybody watching, and those of you that watch later on, glad you're here too. Feel free to leave some comments. Try to continue to get things better. And if you have any suggestions, stuff you'd like to see, let me know. Probably get back in the CRJ again for some flights. Alright, we have our power on the APU there. I'm just going to run for just a minute. and then we'll switch over. I'm going to go ahead and start disconnecting all of the exterior items here, so we can get out of here quickly. Need the ground power can be released. Yep. Release the air conditioner unit. We're going to switch over.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard flight
And release all the
Our flight
loaders.
time will be roughly 42 minutes. Now that the cabin door is closed, please make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your large devices are now shut down and stowed. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all safety belts and seat backs are
Jetway
in full
pulled
upright
away.
lock position
Perfect.
for departure. Cabin crews prepare doors for departure.
Let's
Cross
close
check
the door.
aircraft straps and stand by for all calls.
And it's been 1 minute, so I'm going to switch the bleeds over to the APU. Packs on. There we go. Alright, let's run the pushback check now. Let's get all our lights going where they need to be. Logo light, yep, we definitely need that on now. Alright, here we go. Pushback check, doors. See, this time everything's closed. Perfect. Doors closed, hydraulic panel set, fuel panel set, flight deck door. It is closed. Oh, sorry. It is closed. Let's lock it. Closed, locked. And transponder on transponder. Pushback check complete. I'll go ahead and make our announcement here on VATSIM. Let me double check, make sure no one's online. On the get our air traffic, got our radios back up. Perfect. Yep, nobody's on, so we're should be clear. I'll go ahead and make our announcement though, just to be triple sure. I don't see anybody on here. Kahului, my traffic United 1956, pushing and starting gate 1, Kahului. Here we go.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start straight back. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Brakes off. Brakes released.
Alright, looks like we're out. It's 12 minutes early. Perfect. That was a good quick turn. Alright, as soon as we start, let's start engine 2, then 1, as soon as the pushback starts. Here we go. Alright, so packs off. Starting 2. And get the timer going here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your
2.
attention to the screen for an important safety demonstration. Thank you for flying.
Oil pressure. Send 1. EGT. Just waiting on that.
Welcome aboard.
N2.
Before we depart, please remove the safety card from the seat pocket in front of you and follow along as we demonstrate the safety features of this Airbus A320 airplane. We appreciate your complete attention to this important safety information.
Fuel flow and light up.
May be required
I do have failures on, so we could potentially have hot starts and other things here on this Pmdg. So definitely don't want to let my guard down too much. And yep, that engine valve closed, spar valve closed, lights are off there on the number 2 engine. And we're just looking for that starter cut out at approximately 56% N2.
Pushback complete. Park and brake set.
Alright, brake set. Pressure normal.
Brake set.
Start cut out.
There are 4 exit doors, 2 on each side of the airplane, and 4 window exits located over the wing.
Beautiful evening here in Maui. Alright, AGT is going down. Start 1.
Guidance on your left. Have a good flight.
Main doors open by moving the large handle in the direction of the arrow.
And 2.
Open the upper wing exits by removing the cover and pulling down on the marked handle. Be sure to jump into the slide with your legs in front of you.
Oil pressure.
When you're
And
on
1.
the ground, pull away
EGT.
from the airplane. In the event of a water landing,
Just waiting
force
on
lines
N2.
can be detached from the airplane and used for supplemental flotation. Overwing exits should not be used in a water landing unless directed by a crew member. Look around
There it
closely
is.
to exit nearest your seat. In some cases, your nearest usable exit
Fuel flow, light up. Yep, lights are out. Perfect. Just watching for that hot start. Make sure that EGT doesn't rise too rapidly. It's looking good so far.
Do not remove it unless directed by a flight attendant. If needed, pull the red tab to remove the vent.
So far, I have not had a start malfunction here. So I wonder if any of y'all have had one. Let me know. I'd love to hear about it.
And attach the hooks to the ring.
All right, she better start cut out. Yep.
Pull waist straps away from you until they are tight around your waist. In an emergency,
And there goes our. Let's get some air back there for the passengers. That's a very important thing. Switch our Gen 1 looks good, Gen 2 looks good. Excuse me. Alright. Alright, flaps 1. Watch your knees. Just make sure the flight controls look good down here. Yep, they look good. And verify takeoff speeds. 127, 128, 131 with a flap of 1. Yeah, that is correct. That's what I calculated. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the after start check. Generator's on, probe heat is on, anti-ice standard air conditioning panel set, recall checked, and rudder brakes RTO. After start check complete. Taxi check. Flaps 1, 1, 1, green light. Takeoff speeds 127, 128, 131 set. Thrust DTO2 plus 39. Stab trim, that should be at 5.2, and just a little more, there we go, and 5.2. Flight controls checked. Taxi check complete. Let's go ahead and do our navigation briefing. We're taking off out of Kahului, Maui, runway 2. Pull up the chart here for us. Really short taxi once we turn around here in a second. But it's going to be the beach 4 departure off of runway 8, or runway 2 I mean, sorry. Climb on a 024 heading to 1400, then climbing right turn the Maui 195 radial out to beach. I am going to set my VOR of 5.1 just in standby in case we do have some failures, so we can revert to VOR navigation if we have to. And that all matches 200 knot airspace initially on the climb out to 2500 AGL more than likely, and then standard aboard. Anything to add? If not, let's go ahead and do the taxi over to runway 2. We're clear right, clear left. Here we go. Kahului Maui traffic, United 1956, taxiing from gate 1 to runway 2 via Alpha Charlie. Kahului. Alright, as soon as we're pointed away, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the taxi light. Some of the lights don't really work. See, if I hold the mouse button down, I can see the taxi light, but if I release the mouse button, I can't. So I actually have to use the landing lights, because they'll show up. So that's just the current bug. Look at how short this taxi is. Flight attendants please prepare the cabin for departure. Assume they've already gotten back to us. There's runway 2. Let's go ahead and do the before takeoff check. Runway position is 2. Verified. Flaps 1, 1, green light. Navigation briefing complete. Takeoff warning is checked. Auto throttle, arm, engine start switches, continuous, transponder. Oops, hold up 1 second. Did she say something about a passenger having an issue? No, she's ready for departure. Okay, good. Sorry. I heard they'll have issues back there sometimes, so. Transponder TRA and flight attendants notified and acknowledged. Before takeoff check complete, here we go. Kahului Mountain Traffic, United 1956, taking off runway 2. We'll be departing to the north. Kahului. Actually, we'll be going to we'll be going the other direction. Alright, there's runway 2. Elevations look good. And that 024 heading up. Yep. Good, and the HUD is down. Here we go. To 40% and 1. And Toga. Check. Throttle hold. Engine normal.
Reporting. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Alright, VNav. And it's supposed to be our right hand turn. I don't know why the LNAV is taking us the other direction. We're supposed to have a right hand turn. I'll go ahead and turn that around. Onto that 190 radial. I was like, something doesn't look quite right here. We're not supposed to turn left. It's like the West Maui Mountains right there. Alright, there's our flap traction speed. So flaps 0, flaps up. And after takeoff check. Yeah, sure enough, it is showing like a... That's crazy. It's a 240 intercept. Alright, there's 250, so it should be climbing us at 250 here with the flight director. A big circle around the airport. It's pretty cool.
Honolulu altimeter 29905, contact approach 118.3 today. Delta 481, ATS center, 122330.
I'm going to RML nav. It should intercept now. There we go. Did our right hand turn. So I'll have to look at that in the future. I'm not sure why it had a left turn programmed in the FMS, but or in the MiG-2 there. We'll have to see. Alright, here's 10,000 feet. Go ahead and give the flight attendant the bells, and I need to actually run the after takeoff check. Got a little distracted there. Flaps up, landing gear up, off. Packs are, let's go check this out. Packs are in auto. Engine bleeds on.
Contact 8 northwest.
Pressurization panel is checked. All looks normal. Engine start switches. We're going to switch these back to off. And APU off. After takeoff check.
With 1400 ACS center, thanks. Blue direct Julie.
Delta 481, and I'm trying to stop 2330, please.
And the lights in Kahului. This is going to be a really short flight, so we're going to have to really
377 ACS, thanks.
get efficient with how we do everything. So we're going to be at 14,000 feet for our cruising altitude, which means we're not even going to make it to the transition altitude on this short little hop. But once we level off, we'll go ahead and get the ATIS for Honolulu. Alright, 13,000, climbing 14,000. And I'm only going to turn off the landing lights. It's a reminder I use to know that I'm prepared to land.
See you later.
Leave the rest of the lights on since we're below 18,000 feet. Okay. So now we're beginning our turn toward Lanai. Bad thing about flying at night, we won't get the cool views of the island there, but
Delta
that's
481,
alright.
contact on stage clear direct landing.
So our top of descent's coming up in just about 20 miles, so we gotta move quickly here to get everything set up. So let's go ahead and pull up our
77, turn left heading 310.
ATIS. I'm gonna try to tune it in here.
United 348, you can expect that.
I'm not even, yep, here it is. So it should be coming up very shortly. And while we're waiting on that, I'm going to run the numbers for landing on Top Cat.
104 left, 200 feet above ground level. Air met the air update when valid. For information at Honolulu Automated Flight Service Station. Advise on initial contact to have information Bravo.
United 348, calling maintain level 370.
Honolulu International Airport 8 is information Bravo, 0453 Zulu. Wind 060 at wind 4. Visibility wind 0. 2 clouds at 2,400. 2 clouds at 4,000. 7,500 scattered. Temperature 26. 2.18. Altimeter 29907. Landing and departing runways 4 and 8. Expect ILS or visual approach. Phto in effect. Advise approach on 118.3 or 119.1 if unable to hold short. Taxiway Romeo 6 closed. Molo Kai TAC can out of service. Brief echo control instructions. Increase bird strike hazard on runway. Numerous cranes in the vicinity of Honolulu Airport check. No chance for additional information. Caution crane 1,849 feet from departure and runway 4 left, 200 feet above ground level. Air met the air update when valid. For information at Honolulu Automated Flight Service Station. Advise on initial contact to have information Bravo.
Alright, that was information Bravo. 299.7 on the altimeters. We do have our approach speeds. Landing data is set. Only require 4,900 feet of runway. We have there at Honolulu. Here, I'll pull it up here for us. And I need to go ahead and set a lower altitude in. So our bottom altitude, it's going to be 4,000. So we'll assume that we are clear to descend via Chalet 1 arrival. And 4,000 is set. It's coming up on our top of descent in just a few miles. Which is right close to Lanai. Okay. But like I said, we need 4,900 feet of runway and then 4 rights. It's 9,002. Which I'll put into our HUD here in a minute. 4 right beyond glide slope 7952. So I mean it's plenty of runway, which is good. So let me go ahead and get the right elevation. Is going to be 8 feet for 4 right. A whopping 8 feet. Elevation set. Length is like I said 9,002.
557 for 10,000.
And 4 right. We are beginning our descent. Perfect. Just make sure the. Oops, we're doing the Zulu. Make sure that it's 3 degrees on the glide slope. So that's all set. That's good. Let's get the
contact approach 118.3 good day.
Actually, I think we already put the approach in there. So on the arrival, we're looking at, it's going to be a really quick brief here, then we'll do our arrival check, or descent check actually. Chalet 1, departure, correct Ono, and then it's dilated above 4,000, Chalet at 210 knots at 4,000 feet. 4,000 is set for the descent via.
Vectors left downwind runway 35.
Hi, present heading left downwind.
And then the ILS Zulu 4 right. We're showing
689 center 119.3. We'll get
93, come on.
debris. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do the Elena transition. Let's get that going. Just really well.
689, it's here center Roger, Honolulu altimeter 29905.
Make sure we're still going for it. Honu, we are. Execute that. So Honu, Daily, Chalet, and then got the arc here. So it's Elena at or above 3,000. And then the arc fixes Yepku. Make sure this actually looks legit on here. Oh yeah, look at that. Yepku at or above 3,000. Debris at or above 2,000. Yep. Pearly at or above 1,500. And then 4 right. Missed approach is climb to 540, then climbing right turn to 3,000 on a heading of 220 out to Elena and hold. It all matches. And switch back to map mode here. 110.5 is the localizer frequency. Let's get this on both radio tuning units.
7 Kona altimeter 29905, contact center 118.45 today.
Alright, 110.5 on both sides. Let me turn a floodlight on back here. Just to, there we go. Now we can see the panel a little bit better. Alright, there's Honu. We have 5,900 pounds of fuel, so we're right on track. So like we said, 110.5042 is the final approach course inbounds. We need to give the flight attendants the bell since we're below 10,000 feet now.
HF Coast Guard 2007 is level 1.
Early, standard DH is, their DA is 209. So let's go ahead and set that in. Likely be ILS to, or visual to active ILS, but 209 there. Touchdown zone elevation is 9. We have pressurization is set. and we need half a mile visibility. We had 10 miles down there. Highest obstacles are mountains up there, just off the end of the runway, so we do definitely have to make sure we make that right-hand turn if we do go miss, and we'll likely come back around to land here.
377, contact HQ Center 119.3.
After we land, it's going to be a left-hand turnoff, likely at the end at Charlie, and then we'll have to get clearance to cross 4 left and Alpha.
We just got up to noon line 277 and
So to the gate. We might be able to get off at Hilo.
377,
There's a hot spot there.
Roger.
Hot spot number 2,
Down.
which says aircraft landing 4 right and exiting left on the Kilo. Sometimes fail to hold short of 4 left and 8 left. So we'll keep that in mind. Alright, well that is that. Let's go ahead and get the descent check complete. Altimeter is 297, cross-checked. Minimums, Barrow 209, cross-checked. Landing data is
1400, contact HQ Center 119.3.
19.3, happy to be southwest.
is 3126 with plus 11 wind correction is checked. Approach briefing complete. Auto brakes 3. Seatbelt signs on.
Radar contact 4 miles west of
Pressurization panel is set and recall checked.
Say that one more time. Lock.
Descent check complete.
30 is out of 320.
Alright, we're coming up on Chalet now. I think after Chalet we're going to go direct to Elena. So Chalet, Elena, execute.
Southwest 1400, line level 260, please.
Southwest 1400, HCF Center, Roger.
No, we should be slowing here soon down to 210. It looks like we're about 30 out, so I'm going to go ahead and announce our intentions. Honolulu traffic, United 1956, Boeing 737, 30 miles to the east. Planning ILS runway 4 right, Elena transition, Honolulu. Alright, we are in the clouds. Temperature still plus 24, so no anti-ice required.
977, the somehow discretion maintains at level 200.
Looking good.
Discretion 200, Delta 977.
So it looks like in the back, I'm kind of curious is, yeah, it shows lights in the back of the aircraft. It's just not in the cockpit for some reason.
Transit 682 Center Roger, the Hilo altimeter 29997.
Oh, that's cool. You can see it is dark out there.
377.
Alright, we're at our altitude of 4,000, 210 knots. We'll keep us clean, no flaps for just a minute here.
Clear to Honolulu Airport via direct Julie 5 arrival, climb and maintain 8,000, Honolulu altimeter 29995.
And we're going direct to Lena. And we can go all the way down to 3,000 now for Elena.
United 348, ready service terminated, frequency change approved.
Delta 77, left second 200, is going to maintain 3,000.
Okay.
Area of moderate precipitation at your 12 o'clock and 25 miles. Then scattered for another 20 miles along your route. No top to base order.
4,000, 3,000. 1,000 ascending, 3,000.
American 115, HCF Center, time to maintain to level 370.
Actually, this phase vertical speed, I'm just going to start us down there.
Kahului altimeter 29997.
Delta 481, palm discretion of 9,000,
29997, contact HCF Center
Sitting out over the
119.3.
ocean. We're heading Phog centered up here.
48, ATF center, roger. Coast Guard 2007, maintain 9,000.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a long approach here. We're doing the full DME arc.
1400, descend power pressure, maintain 10,000, Honolulu altimeter 299.5.
Advise discretion 10,000, 2995 Southwest 1400.
Southwest 1400, do not exceed 280 knots, for sequence.
Not to exceed 280 knots Southwest 1400.
377, descend power pressure, maintain 10,000, Honolulu altimeter 299.5.
Discretion 10,000, line 310.
Delta 77, clear direct Hilo, South Hilo matter about 3,000, cleared, Arnold, 3,000 first. Affirmative, Hilo matter about 3,000, cleared, RNAV, runway 35 approach. Transit 6, flight heading 285, vector towards Honolulu. Aircraft going, say again. Support advisories, I'm sorry, taking your call sign, please. Runway 57, 121725. Runway 57, radar contact 7 miles north Kona Airport, altitude.
And I'm sorry, I got everything except for the call sign.
Runway 57,
Tell me what were the numbers? Runway 599, roger. I'm sorry, you said you had someone, right? Runway 599, roger, squawk 2341.
Did you just want to head towards the field?
5. November 1 Yankee Whiskey. Airport, try to Alaska 292. Alaska 292, thank you. Clear visual approach, runway 4 right. Contact tower, 108.1 today. Clear the visual 4 right, going to tower, Alaska 292, thank you.
Alright, there's Honolulu out there off the right side. We got a good view of it now. You can just see how crowded the island of Oahu is. Definitely one of the more urban islands.
November 691 Yankee Whiskey. Go ahead for November 1 Yankee Whiskey.
So it's like
November 1 Yankee Whiskey, turn right heading 285.
the view out the back. I probably could have taken us in a little bit closer, I'm guessing.
House 3927, leaving Honolulu.
Maybe tried the visual, but I don't know. I'm just going to do the... I haven't tried a DME arc
Squawk VFR frequency change for 927.
in the Pmdg 737 yet, so let's see how it goes. I know they're about to come out with a new update, some of the lateral navigation that's going to be in the 737-600 variant. It's supposed to help make it much more accurate. And man, it looks like it's already doing a pretty good job here. And then that update is supposed to be transitioning over to the 700 variant also, so that should be really really neat when it occurs. There's some boats out there in the water. That's pretty cool. It's funny because you can only see the landing light. See how it's flashing? That's when I press down my right mouse button. So not really sure what's causing that. Now, why is it descending? I don't know. Alright, looks like it's holding steady now. Alright, so our final approach fix is going to be... I just want to make sure I slow at the right. I'm going to slow to 180 knots here in just a minute. My approach fix is Pearly. There. So by Pearly, I want to be in approach configuration and approach speed. So I'm going to go ahead and slow us down to 180 knots now. Let's go ahead and get some flaps out. Before I start doing that, you can see we're really close to our minimum speed with flaps up as that green line there. So I don't want to, do not want to bust that. Alright, so flaps are at 1, let's go flaps 2. Our plan is to be at 180 knots as we're making that turn at Yepku onto the final approach course. Alright, there's flaps 2, flaps 5. And let's slow to 180 knots. Alright, here we are, making our turn toward Yepku now. And there's the airport. Have Honolulu International in sight. Alright, we're looking good. Looks like we'll be at 180 once we get to Yepku right here. Should be pretty sure there it goes. And we do have the localizer identified. Make an announcement. Honolulu traffic United 1956.737, 15 mile final runway 4 right. Honolulu. Right, VR Loca is armed and captured. And we're on the right approach. I'm going to go ahead and arm approach mode. Glide slope is picking up.
Carlo Tower, Skylog 3927.
Sky 3927 approach.
And I'm just going to keep this at 180 knots for just a little while.
Skyline 1 Yankee Whiskey, then we're heading 300. We're heading 300, 1 Yankee Whiskey.
And there are a few kind of lower clouds as forecast, scattered layer, but yeah, see, we couldn't have had a visual approach out this far. Maybe a little closer in to the airport, but alright, let's go gear down. A dot and a half now.
Friendly 864, contact center 124.1 today.
Slow us down a little bit. Flaps 10. Flaps 15. Barely picking up the runway through the haze there. Alright, 5 out from. Alright, I'm gonna keep our speed up just a little bit longer. I think we have plenty of drag available. We can slow back to our approach speed of 137 pretty easily from here. We'll go ahead and do the approach checklist. Flight nav instruments are verified. We're showing that 110.1. India uniform Mike is that identifier that's showing up there at the 042 course inbound. Cabin notifications complete and the altimeters are 29907 cross-checked. Approach check complete. Look at this, we can see the runway right through a little gap in the clouds. A little hole just for us right there. So, alright, we'll go ahead and slow us back now to our approach speed of 137.
2500.
Flaps 25. Flaps 30. And landing check on spoilers. Our brakes are set. HUD's coming down. There we go. And landing check. Landing gear down. Flaps are just hold up, pull this up, just make sure. 30 green light. Speed brake arms and engine start switches. You flip those over to continuous.
383 Heavy, 1,000.
And we're clear to land.
5,000 on the 155 Heavy. United 383 Heavy, just departure radar
Land check
contact,
complete.
Honda maintain 16,000. 16,000, United 383.
Alright, I'm going to hand fly it from here. So
right heading 340.
there might be traffic on the field taking off runway 8 there.
2697 is safe approach, fly heading.
See somebody taking off there to the east. Yep.
500, vector visual approaching on forward.
Honolulu traffic, United 1956, Boeing 737, 5 mile final, 4 right, Honolulu.
United 383 Heavy,
out of the way. I've not heard them on the radios, but. Alright, autopilot's coming off. And autothrottle's coming off. And we're manual 5 controls. Wow, it is pretty smooth air right now. See, the clouds are a little bit low. I mean, you could maybe get, there's a ship. Wow. Maybe could have gotten a visual approach in here, but I don't know.
1,000.
Alright, looks like picking him up on TCAS, dude. He's 1,500 above us now, and fall off to our right. So it should be good. And we do have the, can I set the missed approach altitude? It's 3,000, yeah, it's set. Need to get the heading though.
500.
I'm just going to turn it all the way out to the right just to make sure we do it. There we go. And flying up. And correcting right. Got distracted for a second.
300.
Flying up.
Approaching minimums.
And I'm going to slow us back toward ref a little bit here.
Minimums.
Going in sight, continue.
Departure 250, 1,100.
100.
250, just departure with a contact, Honda maintain
50.
135.
30.
13,000.
20. 10.
Not good landing. Floating.
37, heavy, can turn left like more,
And spoilers up. Knots. Alright, we'll take it off right here. I believe this is Hilo. Can't quite see there.
United 383 heavy, turn left heading 020. Heading 06, United 33.
The local time is 7:30.
Yep, we got off of Hilo.
Currently about 79.
So this is that hot spot. There's nobody on the runway there at 4 left. We're just going to cross it. I don't know why it, there it goes. Honolulu traffic, United 1956 exiting 4 right, Hilo crossing 4 left, and 8 at Hilo, 8 left at Hilo. Honolulu.
534, ATS approach, fly, present heading, descending maintain 3,000, effective offshore, reach approach, runway left. Roger, maintain present heading, descending 3,000.
Alright, once we get clear here, I'll retract the flaps and go through the natural landing.
United 383 heavy, contact center 124.1. 124.1, United 383 heavy, good night.
We'll turn left on Zulu. Clear left. You can see this is just the default scenery, so it does not look that great, especially at night. But I think somebody's working on scenery. Honolulu traffic, United 1956, clear 4 left and 8 left at Hilo, taxiing to the terminal via Zulu. Honolulu. Alright. Actually, I need to leave landing lights on so I can see because of the way this works. APU. Wing can come off. Perfect.
That's a 442.
Broke the
3718
window.
heavy, contact center 1 to 4.1.
Repeats.
HF approach, this is Cessna 1468 Echo, 2 miles west of the interchange, about to land with
That's a 1468 Echo, HF approach, Phog 1644.
you broke up 1646.
Delta 673 heavy to left heading 090.
And we'll just park here at gate Echo 7.
Delta 68 Echo, Phog 1644.
1644, such a thing.
Honolulu Delta 673 heavy, we're out of 4.4 for 5.
Delta 673 heavy, HF departure, ready to contact, turn left heading 080, come and maintain 16000.
080 up to 16000, red 673.
Let's get the lights
Delta
off.
68 Echo, ready to contact at the Sugar Mill, clear then above airspace north 6 level, and there's 4 right.
Okay, cleared in Bravo, north 6 rattles before right. Cessna 68.
Line 250, contact center 119 at 13.
Alright, let's go taxi it up here.
Delta 68 Echo, contact tower 119.
As I said, I got the brakes, everything was super touchy. Gotta go forward another few feet. Here we go. There we go. Now we're on. Alright, parking brakes coming on. Alright, brakes are on. The only thing I didn't do on the after landing was that turn those off. So after landing, engine start switches off, flaps up, speed brake down, radar off. And let's check our APU voltage. Yep, we're gonna switch over to APU bus so we can shut down the engines. It's been over a minute. So we'll switch the bleeds over to the APU. Turn on our dome lights and shut off the engines. Shut down 2, shut down 1.
Delta 673 heavy, contact center 1 to 4.1.
24.1 for 673, good day.
And let's get the chocks in.
Delta 347, turn left heading 090.
Chocks are in, ground power requested. Comes the jet bridge. Is our jet bridge driver. Alright, seatbelt signs coming off. Beacons off. Transponders on standby. Yeah, let's go ahead and run the shutdown check. Park and brake set. Fuel pump switches are as required. Seatbelt sign off. Window heat off. Probe heat off. Anti-ice off. Electric hydraulic pumps. Now the chocks are in. Off. Air conditioning panel set. Anti-collision light off. Engine start switches cut off and transponder standby. Shutdown check complete. Let's go ahead and open up the gate here. Or not the gate, but the door. Which I don't think they have the animation working yet for this, but the door is unlocked. So we'll just assume it's opened. And yeah, that's it. I think the deplaning should begin. Yep, deboarding is going on for Pack X, and we arrived apparently about 15 minutes early, so that's great. Well, thank you all for joining me on this quick island hop adventure. I know I do have some other plans in store for later on this month and in early July with streaming, but stay tuned, I'll give you some more details on that. For now, just thanks for flying with me here on United Virtual on the VRF Summer Channel. Loved having you on board, and I'll see you again soon in the
1534, thanks. Remain offshore.
virtual
2,000 to 5 mile
skies.
final. Clear visual approach. Remain left of the channel.
See ya.
Twenty-four 786, approach second of Robert Stage Freeway, 4 arrival, runway 4 right. Delta 347, turn left heading 0. Line 534, contact Kahului. Delta 347, contact center 12451 Avenue. Delta 443, descend and maintain 1,500.